Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So now, last week kita dah tengok what is the definition of research, right? And what is the characteristic of good research, and what is research and what is not research. The cycle process of research, and we also look at classification of bad research, kan? So now for today, we're going to look at this type of research and research design. Okay, so there are two type of research available. Right, we can classify research into two parts. First is applied research. Another one is basic or fundamental research. Right, so we have two type of research: basic or fundamental research. Another one is applied research. So basic is being done chiefly to improve understanding of certain problem that commonly occur in organization, and how to solve them, provide the knowledge. Means that we're not going to solve the problem, we just want to identify the phenomenon in the problem. We want to identify what is the cause of the problem. We want to identify how to solve the problem. We're not going to solve the problem. We just want to identify, provide some knowledge, to gain some knowledge, to gain some insight of the problem, right? So that is a basic research, right, or fundamental research. Applied research means that we apply the result that we found in the basic research to solve the specific problem. We try to solve the specific problem by using applied research, right? So that is applied research. We just want to apply the knowledge that we have found in basic or fundamental research, and we try to solve the problem. That is applied research lah. Okay, hope you understand the difference between applied and basic research. So basic driven purely by curiosity and the desire to expand our knowledge. As I said, we just want to identify the cause, we want to know what is the problem, right? So that's why it is driven purely by curiosity. We just want to know and desire to expand our knowledge. Applied research used to answer a specific question that has been direct application to the world. Right. So the aim of basic research is not to apply the finding, but to apply the finding to solve the problem. But we want to understand more about certain phenomena. We just want to understand the certain phenomena or certain problem that occur in several organization and how they can be solved. We just want to know how they can be solved, right? So that is basic research. The main purpose is to generate more knowledge and understanding about the phenomena, right? Itu saja. We just want to know regarding the problem, how it happened, what is the cause of the problem, and how to solve the problem. That's all, right? So example of basic research, a university's lecturer may be interested in investigating the factor that contribute to the absenteeism in the workplace. So we want to know what is a factor, right, that contribute to absenteeism in the workplace ataupun in a class. Kenapa student selalu absent? Kenapa student tak boleh perform dalam mathematics, contoh kan. So that we will just want to know why and how it happened, right? So it basically based on a 5W question lah. What is the problem, how to identify the problem, why this happened, right? And when it happened. So kita base pada 5W 1H lah. So after gathering information through observation and personal interview, the lecturer may identify factors such as inflexibility, inflexible working hours, inadequate training of employee and role model as a primary influence of absenteeism. So this is a example from this problem lah. Kita nak tahu apakah faktor yang menyebabkan ketidakhadiran pekerja di tempat kerja. Right, so we just want to know the factor, right? What is the factor contribute to that problem? So applied research, a study of problem of concern to the organization in order to find solution that can be implemented. Right? We just want to do a research to find an optimal solution. Right? We just want to provide an alternative to solve the problem. Right? So that is applied research. Right? We just want to find how to solve the problem. We just want to table out how many alternative available, how many solution available to solve the problem, and we can decide from there, right? So example of applied research, business researcher may conduct research to learn how to improve their management system to ensure more effective and productive workforce, right? So for example, advertiser may conduct research to find out the impact of their promotional campaign on the consumer market. Right, so kita ni advertiser boleh conduct research untuk tahu dia punya impact of doing promotional campaign. Right, so adakah dia punya, kalau dia buat promotion 50% discount contoh, adakah menarik consumer untuk membeli dia punya goods kan. Another one is political parties may conduct research to find out public opinion about their policies. Right? To find out the public opinion about their policies and the likelihood the voter will support them in future election. This is another example of applied research, right? So you just want to know what is the public opinion so that we can do some intervention to cater supporters punya vote, contoh kan. Itu adalah applied lah. We just want to find a solution, to find a way to do for a solution. Itu saja. So this is a difference between basic and applied research. So contribution for basic, to provide basic theoretical knowledge, is only provide basic theoretical knowledge. But for applied research, provide practical application of the result, right? This is a contribution of basic and applied. So I hope you can jot down the notes here, right? So problem area for basic research, the selection of the problem is within research prerogative, right? So within researcher prerogative, but for applied research, the selection of the problem is within the demand of the employer, within the demand of the market, within the demand of the current needs, right? So itu the selection of problem area in applied research and basic research. So in terms of quality, the quality of basic research is based on the absolute norm of the scientific rigor lah. Based on scientific norm, based on the absolute norm of scientific rigor, right? So the quality for applied research is based on the ability to address the problem with an application solution. So the purpose dekat sini boleh nampak kita dah tahu, basic research we just want to expand our knowledge. But for applied research, we just want to find a solution, right? So, basic research to deliver information and knowledge for basic, but for applied to improve or to solve current issue, current problem, right? Itu saja. So, this is very clear lah. I think I dah ulang daripada slide number 2 sampai slide number 8. Lebih kurang sama saja dia punya perbezaan kan. So, identifying type of research. Can you identify on the left hand side, you are going to study the relationship between job satisfaction, right, and career development of the secondary school teacher. This is a basic research or applied research. You want to study the relationship between job satisfaction and career development. Is there any relationship or no relationship? So ini adalah apa? Applied or basic research?
Applied.
Yes, it should be applied research lah. Because when we find the relationship, then we can adjust and find a solution to enhance the career development, right? Another one on the right hand side, you are going to find out cause of dropout in primary school. So we want to find the factor that caused dropout in a primary school. So ini adalah apa? Applied or basic? Huh? Syakirin? Muhammad Syakirin?
Yeah.
This is applied or basic?
Basic.
Yep. It should be basic lah. We just want to find the cause that contribute to the problem, right? So this is that one. I think you should be okay. What is the difference between basic and applied research? Now we're going to move into the second part, which is research design. So research design, right, is a plan for selecting the source and type of information used to answer the question. Once we already know what is the best type of research that we want to conduct, right? So we need to choose a research design. So research design basically is a plan lah. It's a blueprint, right? That show us how to conduct the research. What is the first step? What is the second step, and so on lah. So a plan for selecting the source and type of information used to answer the research question is also known as a framework for specifying the relationship among study variables. It's also known as a blueprint that outline each procedure from the hypothesis to analysis. This is about Klinger. Dia kata research design is a plan, structure and strategy of investigation so conceived as to obtain answer to research question and problem. Basically, dia adalah satu guideline for us to conduct a research. But first, we need to identify what is the type of research that we want to conduct. We just want to identify the problem, or we have intention to solve the problem. But in our scope, we will look into a basic or fundamental research only, okay? In our project nanti. So now the classification of research design. So this is, some book will say that there are two types of research design, exploratory and conclusive research design, right? Some will say that we have 4 category of quantitative research design, right? We have descriptive, correlational, we have true experimental and quasi-experimental, right? So let me make it let me simplify all this slide into one diagram, right? Basically, there are 2 type of research, right? So there are 2 type of research design. This is a basic research design. Oh, tak cantik tulisan kejap besarkan sikit. So research design, right? Research design can be divided into 2 main design. So we have a qualitative research design, another one is quantitative research design. Basically, it's the same as our classification of variable, right? You see, if you still remember, we have two types of variable: qualitative variable and quantitative variable, right? So under quantitative variable, right, we can classify it into four main study design, or bukan, not study design, it's a research design. We will discuss study design later on. There are two term yang kita akan tengok, what is a study design and what is a research design. Research design is a plan on how to conduct a research. So now, let me put in this way, kita ada 4 category for quantitative research design. The first one is descriptive research design. Another one we have correlational research design. We have another one is experimental research design. Another one, the last one, we have quasi-experimental. One is quasi. Right, so basically we have 4 research design in quantitative design. Right. So as the name of quantitative and qualitative basically we are dealing with non-numeric data, right? Where quantitative research design, we are looking into a quantitative or numerical data. So in numerical data, since we're going to look into a numerical data, kita akan discuss more on quantitative lah. But however, I just want to inform you about how many research design available for qualitative, but I'm not going to discuss this thoroughly. Just it's just enough we know what is the research design available. We have phenomenological research design. We also have a grounded theory, and we also have ethnographic, and last one we have case study, right? So all of these are classified under qualitative research design. But since our interest is based on quantitative research design, I will discuss more on quantitative research design lah. Right, let's look at the descriptive research design. Basically, descriptive research design describes existing conditions, behavior, and all characteristic lah. Right. So basically, descriptive research design, we just want to describe the existing condition, behavior or characteristic without manipulating any variables. We just collect the data and we report that data. We just describe the data as it is, right? Without any manipulation. Any manipulation means that we just don't care what is the relationship of this one variable and another one variable. We just describe this. Maybe for example, I tulis sini lah, without manipulating variables, right? So example, maybe I bagi you example satu. This is example. We just want to study of study the prevalence lah, the prevalence of maybe smartphone addiction among students. For example, kan, this is we just want to study the prevalence of smartphone addiction among students. Right. So to do this, by using a descriptive study design, we just deploy a survey. To student and asking them to rate the agreement of certain statement, right? Maybe kita letak satu statement lah that relate to the smartphone edition, right? So that yang boleh menyatakan smartphone edition lah. And then we collect the data, then we just provide an insight regarding how widespread of the issues regarding smartphone edition. And we just describe the situation only. We don't want to find any relationship, why this happened, what is the factor that caused smartphone addiction. Kita tak mahu tahu itu semua. We just want to describe only, right, based on the information given by the respondent. Right. So this is purely describe the characteristic of the data. Ini ditulislah. Ni I summarize I punya slide daripada banyak-banyak ni I summarizekan kepada beberapa diagram macam ni, okay? So another note is does not explore relationship between different variable, right? So we just don't really interested on to finding relationship or factor that contribute to the variable, right? We just want to describe the characteristic, right? We want to know how many students have a problem with the smartphone addiction, right? So what is current most of the time spend dekat mana, social media ke, playing games ke, kan? We would just want to know. Itu saja. Right? So it is perfect when we asking a research question or research objective that contain what, who, where, and when. So this is purely basic research lah. Right? So basically, this research design, a descriptive research design, is a precursor lah. Is a precursor to other research design. So means that we just not going to stop here. After doing this, we will continue to other research design, right? Of course, we want to find a relationship in future, right? So that's why in real life, normally we will combine descriptive research design and correlational research design together. Right? So ini nanti kejap I explain what is a correlational research design. Right? Okay, now ada soalan tak berkenaan dengan descriptive research design? Ada soalan? Any questions so far?
No.
Right. So now let's look at correlational research design. Correlational research design involve in identifying and measuring relationship between two or more variables lah, without manipulating them. Still, we're not going to manipulate the variable. we mean by manipulating the variable? Means that manipulating means we can control the variable lah, whether to give intervention or not to give intervention. That is a control. So let me put this way: to identify and measuring relationship between two or more variable, but still without manipulating them. Okay, so it is useful when you want to know whether a change in one thing will affect another thing, right? Maybe you want to know what is the change of, maybe you want to do a prediction, right? So if a patient smoke 10 cigarettes a day, what is the chance of getting heart disease, right? Example lah. So let me put another example. Maybe kita boleh kata, if you want to explore relationship between exercise frequency and overall health. Right. So first, to identify to explore relationship between exercise frequency and overall health, first what we need to do is collect data of the participant regarding the exercise habit lah, right? Along with the record lah. Apa record yang ada? Maybe kita nak collect the blood pressure, we want to collect heart rate or BMI, and then we use statistical tests to measure relationship. Between two variable, maybe exercise frequency and blood pressure, exercise frequency and BMI, and then we can impose some multi-variable analysis, right? So since it does not involve manipulation of variable, it can be implemented at a larger scale, right? So since kita tak manipulate the variable kan, kita tak intervention dalam variable tu, so we can apply this in a larger scale of research, right? Maybe kita boleh apply dekat community scale. So it can be applied at a larger scale, right? More easily lah. Selagi senang kita nak buat study ni dengan kadar yang besar. Sebab apa? Sebab we are not manipulating the variable, right? So so as I said just now, most of the research, right, are combining descriptive and correlational research design together. First, we want to know what is the current condition, what we want to describe the characteristic, right? And then we want to know what is a relationship, and means that we are mixing the descriptive and correlational design together, right? So in your research, right, your project should combine more than one research design lah. Maybe descriptive and correlational together. If you want to do experimental, then you need to plan what kind of experiment that you want to do, right? Maybe experimental, the research sample size is not really large lah. So of course there is a limitation in research correlational research design. It cannot be used to establish causality, right? So you need to know the correlation is not a causation, okay? Correlation bukan penyebab. Boleh faham ah? Correlation is not a causation. This is a basic term in data science, and you should know as a statistician, correlation is not, so does not equal to, does not equal causation. So this is a very famous term in correlation lah. So to establish the causation, we need to do some experimental. We need to apply some experimental design lah. We need to manipulate the variable. Right. Alright. Itu that is some introduction about descriptive and correlation. Of course, after this you need to do some reading lah about descriptive research design and correlational research design. So let's move to the next one, which is experimental research design. So experimental research design, right? Kena letak penghadang sikit sekejap. Okay. Experimental research design used to determine if there is a cause ataupun causal relationship between variable. Right? So we just want to determine is there is a causal relationship between variable. So in this design, researcher can manipulate one variable, which is independent variable, while controlling others variable, which is dependent variable. Right? We can control and manipulate the variable because we are doing experimental. It allows us to observe the effect of former on the latter, right? And draw conclusion about the population potential causality. So example, maybe kita tengok example. Maybe we want to know, we want to determine how different type of fertilizer affect plant growth. Right? To determine how different type of fertilizer, maybe to determine the different type of fertilizer affect plant growth, right? So ini, okay. First thing we can do is we can set up several groups, right? Maybe we can set up a several group of plant, right? Maybe kita ada pokok, beberapa pokok lah. Kita set up beberapa group dalam satu group tu ada beberapa pokok lah. And each group kita use a different fertilizer, or if you want to use a same fertilizer, maybe we can use different amount of fertilizer, contoh kan, ataupun different fertilizer should be very easy to understand. So then we can measure how each plant grows on average over time. Setiap sebulan berapa ketinggian dia membesar kan, contoh. And compare the result by group, right? Between groups, right? To see which fertilizer give more effective result. Boleh? Maybe itu adalah experimental lah. We can divide and observe. Right. So in this experimental, it provide a powerful way to identify and measure causal relationship and directional between variables. So the major challenge in experimental research design challenge right in experimental research design not easy to set up. Not easy to set up or means to control all the variable in the study lah. We cannot. It's not easy to control all the variable in the study. It's often so that's why since there we have a limitation to control this the group in the study. So normally the sample size will be very small, right, for this research design. Since it's very small, we have a small sample size, right? Since we have small sample size, it will lead to statistical bias, statistical power, low statistical power, and affect generalizability of the result, right? So if the sample size is very small, but you need to calculate the sample size before we conduct experimental design. And the major challenge is it require a random assignment. Right, random assignment is different between random sampling. Okay, random assignment. I think you will learn this topic more detail on maybe next semester in subject design and analysis of experiment. You will learn about RCBD, randomized block design, LSD, Latin square, and so on lah. Right. So that is a major challenge of experimental design. And what is experimental design? So now another one is we have quasi-experimental design. Quasi-experimental design where used to investigate causal relationship. Of course, it's the same as experimental design, but in this design, researcher has no ability to manipulate not manipulate, actually no ability to control the random assign of the participants, right? So let me put this way: use to investigate causal relationship, right? When the researcher cannot or does not want to randomly assign participant. Right. So in this case, it's different between experimental and the difference between experimental and quasi-experimental. Experimental, we need to do a random assignment of the group, right? But quasi-experimental, we don't have a random assignment of the group. So basically, it based on existing group or pre-existing group condition to form group. for comparison. Right. So what is the difference dekat sini? Dekat experimental, right? Tengok ni example, to determine different type of fertilizer affect plant growth. So kita akan form a group of plant, right? And then kita akan randomly assign the fertilizer to each group, right? So there is a random assignment element there, kan? But for quasi-experimental, the group is already there, and we cannot randomly assign to the group. Faham tak? Contoh, example, let's say let's say a lecturer want to measure the effectiveness of different teaching method, right? So maybe group of student tu dah ada group kan, maybe you are group 4B and another class 4A, so it's already assigned to the group, right? So the group is already there. So what we can do is the maybe ada satu lagi kelas lecturer yang lain, so kita nak tengok teaching method tu dah dia punya assignment tu dah ada dah. Maybe I and 4B, maybe lecturer B dekat 4A, group 4A. So dia dah ada assignment, pre-existing condition. So we just want to know what is the effectiveness of each teaching method. So itu ada dinamakan quasi-experimental. The random alignment, the random assignment element tu dah tak ada kat situ. Boleh faham? So that is quasi-experimental. So you boleh tengok based pada example yang tadi I bagi lah. Example I bagi tadi. You want me to write down example? We want to find the to study the effect of a new teaching method on student achievement, right, in a particular school lah contoh, right? So in this case, we don't have the ability to randomly assign student, because student is already enrolled to the class, right? And with different teaching method, means different teachers, right? In this case, we have to choose class that already use different teaching method. Maybe I'm using online, maybe another lecturer is using traditional pedagogy, right? So we can compare. We can still find the difference without having assigned to the participant lah, right? But we are lacking. We have lack of statistical bias lah dekat situ. Kita ada sedikit bias dekat situ. Assignment bias, right? So this is lead to our limitation for quasi experimental. So what is a limitation? Limitation, right? So it is more difficult to confidently establish causality between variables. So kenapa dia susah? Because the participant assignment is not random. Since the participant assignment is not random, so it is more difficult to confidently establish causality between variable. And we have also less control over other variable. right? We also have a less control over other variable, which also may impact the finding, which increase the risk of confounding variables, right? So in compared to experimental research design, we have a full control of the variable. Maybe we want to consider the Noisen factor, we want to consider the apa tu, assignment, berapa lama kita nak dia ada macam-macam study design lah each ni nanti kita akan tengok in detail and you can understand more detail lah, right. But however, the difference between another difference between experimental and quasi-experimental experimental design, it has an issue of sample size, right? We want to select a member into a experimental group, so not all of people, if you are dealing with people, not all people will agree to join the experimental lah, right. It will goes to a lot of ethical issues kan, so ada banyak challenge dekat situ. But for quasi experimental, we still want the design is still have an element of experimental, but we have less control over participant assignment. So that's why we can apply this to a larger scale of research, right? Maybe kita boleh besarkan kepada sample size yang lebih besar lah, right? And will lead to the greater statistical power compared to a small sample size research. Okay, so that is some explanation regarding research design for quantitative research. We have descriptive, correlational, experimental, and quasi-experimental. Of course, this is just explanation, brief explanation, so you can understand. You need to do a lot of reading regarding this topic, right? Alright, boleh? Maybe lepas you all balik daripada raya, right? Kita akan ada presentation regarding the research design. Right, maybe you need to do some presentation. Ada 5 group kan? Ada berapa group kita? Muhammad Faris, Haziq. Ada berapa group semua? Ya? 3 group? 5 group. Okay, good. So, each group will take one. Descriptive, correlational, experimental, quasi, and last one will take qualitative. And explain everything here lah. Tapi this is going to be very simple, right? So qualitative is basically macam contoh phenomenological design. We just want to explore the meaning of life experience and how they perceived by individual lah. We just want to know the meaning of life based on experience, how they perceived by individual. Basically, we want to seek people we want to understand people perspective, emotion, behavior in a specific condition. I tak tulis but you need to pick up from my speech and my lecture. So the aim for phenomenological research design is to uncover the essence of human experience, right? Without making any assumption or impose preconceived ideas on the subject, right? Example, kita boleh relate from this one to study the cancers. Why cancer survivor have a varied perception? They ada a varied perception of their life after overcoming the disease. Contoh yang tahu dia ada cancer survivor, what is their perception after that? So we can to get the data, we can do interview, right? We can do interview with the survivor, and then we analyze the data by using qualitative methods such as thematic analysis to identify commonalities and difference. Right. So basically, as I said, we just need to do interviews, and interviews mean we are doing in-depth interviews, and we can also use open-ended questionnaire to get the perception, the opinion of, anything that the participant want to do, to give their perception or emotion, to give some emotion or behavior lah. Right, limitation is really hard to do this type of research, and it involve very small sample size lah, which is limited we will limit the generalizability of the findings. Okay. Another one is grounded theory. Grounded theory is a research design that develop theories based on by continuously analyzing and comparing collected data lah, from a relatively large number of participants, right? So basically, it's a bottom-up approach, right, with a focus of letting the data speak for itself. Maybe we can collect the data using in-depth interviews and observation, based on observation. For example, maybe kita nak buat research about understanding how people cope with a chronic pain from a specific condition, right? We just want to know how people cope with the chronic pain. We're not going to give a quantitative measurement. We are doing interviews or observation lah. We'll just look at how they behave, right? And we want to come up with a theory. And that's why we name as a grounded theory lah. So it is suitable when research aim to involve theory generation lah, especially to understand research area, right? It can be quite time consuming, right? Because we need to do some multiple round of data collection and analysis, right? This is grounded theories. Where for the third research design is ethnographic. Ethnographic is involve observing and studying culture sharing group. Maybe you want to understand how one culture behave ataupun celebrate their festive season, festive season ke apa kan. So we need to be with them, right? So we just want to understand the belief and behavior about certain culture. The data collection that suitable for this research design may be observation and in-depth interview to explore participant views and belief, right? So example, maybe we want to know how different communities celebrate their festive season, traditional festival. This maybe involve a lengthy period lah. Maybe you kena duduk dekat situ dengan masa yang lama. You participate with them, their communities, and observe how they behave, macam mana dia celebrate. Macam contoh kita nak tahu Melayu, macam mana Melayu sambut Hari Raya. So kita kena duduk dengan komuniti Melayu lah. Duduk and tengok macam mana dia sambut bulan Ramadan macam mana, and lepas buka puasa macam mana, malam dia buat apa, siang dia buat apa, betul hari nak sambut festive season tu dia buat apa. You need to be with them. Okay. So the challenge would be researcher bias lah. Once you be with the community, maybe you can tends to be more biased, right? Right. And another issue is about participant confidentiality lah. Participant confidentiality is very ethical issues, right? So that is a challenge lah. You cannot expose the participant confidentiality. And the last one is a case study. Case study involve investigating a single individual or multiple individual to gain in-depth understanding of their experience, behavior and an outcome lah. Right? So it's basically designed to offer deep dive to specific surrounding of a person, group of people, or phenomenon regarding generally within the bounded settings context. For example, maybe we want to explore the factors influence the success of specific business, right? So this one you can deeply into organization. You can go to the organization to explore and understand what makes it ticks for marketing to HR to finance. Maybe the data collection involved will be interview, survey, and review documents, right? And this is a case study. So case study can be a single case, multiple case, or both, right? So, not both. They can be single case design, multiple case design, and another one is longitudinal case design. Single case design means you measure on a single entity, maybe one person, right? One company, right? One district, right? To understand the unique characteristic and complexity lah. But for multiple case design, you have a multiple case lah. Let's say person A, B, C, D, company A, B, C, D. So you ada multiple case to understand the pattern and the commonalities lah. We just want to identify the pattern. Right? The single case, we want to identify the unique characteristic. But for multiple case, we comes to the pattern. So it is useful to for case study ni, they are useful to have a deep and contextual understanding about the specific phenomenon lah. And the third design, which is longitudinal design. Tadi I sebut single case design, multiple case design. Another one we have a called longitudinal case design. So longitudinal case design means that we have a single case or multiple case studied over time. Right, we study over time, maybe from the masa dia baru say for a business since dia baru set up the company until 5 years ahead, ataupun 10 years ahead. Kita nak tengok perkembangan business tu, apa yang dia buat. Kita based on the case study. Okay, so disadvantage, case study cannot be generalized to cannot generalize the finding to broader population lah. It just a very small view of study. So that's all for qualitative and quantitative research design. And of course, kita baru sebut research design. We are not looking into study design yet, right? So for study design, I think dalam buku I ada tulis study design we have 3 parts as well, right? Maybe I can open this. Wait, study design. So the study design based pada research design. Each research design have a study design, right? So it based on number of contact, reference period and nature of investigation lah. Nanti dapat buku kita boleh tengok lah, right? So now based on my slide, so actually benda yang sama lah. I just summarizekan all the information from my slide to this diagram and I explain thoroughly what is this research design available, right? So this one I can skip. So exploratory research design, also known as descriptive and correlational, right? So when you combine these two together, it becomes exploratory research design, right? Right. So undertaken to better comprehend the nature of the problem, since very few study might have been conducted in this area lah. We just want to explore, right, or describe the data. So some qualitative study where the data collected through observation or interview are exploratory in nature. So this is when you do a qualitative research pun dia kira sebagai exploratory jugalah. When data reveals some pattern regarding the phenomena in interest, theory are developed and hypotheses are formulated based on based on the finding that from the research. Okay, so common method for conducting exploratory research we can do by using a secondary data or literature search, experience survey, ataupun this is interview lah, face to face interview, and case study. Right, case study kita dah tengok tadi kan, case analysis. Right, so they also have a focus group ini for to do exploratory research, maybe something yang kita tak tahu lagi puncanya, right? We just want to gather the information that might lead us for a formulation of theory, right? So focus group is 8 to 12 people representing the population under study in formal setting to discuss issues surrounding the research problem, right? So descriptive research I already explained just now is called statistical research. The main goal is to describe the data and characteristic, right? We just want to describe only, right? Right. Another one, this is can be so this is a research study design available for descriptive research. Study design dia adalah cross-sectional and longitudinal study. Right. Cross-sectional means the data gathered at just one. Nanti you dapat buku, you boleh baca kan, in detail, right? So longitudinal study means data gathered across time period. Right. So causal research also known as explanatory design, right? So dalam causal research ni dia ada descriptive research and dia ada lagi observation. Sorry, dia ada descriptive, dia ada experimental, right? Mana tadi? Right, aim to understand why things occur, and then it build on exploratory and descriptive research lah. Examine cause and effect of relationship. We just want to know what is the causal relationship between the variables. Alright, correlational research. This is yang kita dah discuss tadi, right? Qualitative research we also discussed just now. Experimental research also discuss. This one kita nak skip lah sebab kita dah discuss tadi kan. So this is what method to use and when. So if you are looking the difference between groups, kalau yes, you want to know that is there any difference between groups, so you need to ask your group whether the group is pre-assigned or no pre-assigned. So kalau dah ada pre-assigned macam tadi saya cakap, sekolah dah ada group sekolah pre-assigned, you are using quasi-experimental. If no pre-assigned, you can use a true experimental or experimental research design. So if you are not looking into a difference, so kita boleh tengok kat sini. The first one, are you studying the event occurred in the past? Kalau dah berlaku, you nak tengok the history of patients. Right, this is what we call as retrospective research design. Ataupun study design ni dia panggil retrospective lah. This is what we call historical research. Right. And if no, kita nak tengok, tak mahu tengok yang sebelum ni, kita nak tengok semasa. Are you studying the event primary occur in the present? Yes, you are using descriptive research. Right? Kalau tak, you tengok nak cari relationship ke tak cari relationship. Kalau cari relationship is a correlational research design. Kalau tak juga, you kena tengok, consider balik the research objective. Because this is the only guideline. Right? So you can screenshot the slide ni. You boleh simpan dalam you punya notes. Right. Ini saya tak bagi ya. Nanti later on you boleh tengok balik dalam my recording lecture. You boleh tengok tu my recording lecture in YouTube. Right. So recap. Research Basic research and applied research. Basic research focus on academic issues with no direct concern for the applicability of the result. We just want to describe, we want to know where, when it happened. We just want to know the factor. What is the factor? Applied research is research to intend to produce result that may have practical significance. We want to know what is the solution, what is the alternative available to solve the problem, right? So this is a type of research available. We can look at this one. Ethnography tadi kita dah discuss. This is qualitative, naturalistic, grounded theory, descriptive, classification, qualitative, academic, case study. Semua ni adalah type-type of research lah, research design. Tapi kita discuss tadi yang important, right? So you just need to know the important type of research design yang kita discuss tadi, right? Yang ini sahaja. Right. So kalau later on you want to do degree or master later on, so it's good for you to expand your knowledge to other type of research design. But in our level right now, diploma level, we focus on these 4: research design, descriptive, correlational, experimental, and quasi-experimental. Right, for quantitative, we are looking into quantitative. We are not looking into qualitative research, right? Because we want to apply some quantitative methods on analysis later on. Okay, boleh faham that one? So qualitative versus quantitative, tadi I dah discuss earlier, right? Quantitative, deductive in nature, involve collecting data to test hypotheses which outline what the expected answer will be, right? Qualitative, inductive in nature, explore in nature, has proposition instead of hypothesis. This is example. Survey research, experimental, lies under quantitative. Participant observation, ethnography, photography, case study, content analysis, all under qualitative research. Okay, ini adalah difference between quantitative and qualitative research design. You can screenshot this slide. Right? Boleh tak screenshot this slide? So I want you to read this one. What is the difference between qualitative and quantitative regarding the approach to the inquiry, the main purpose, sample size, focus on inquiry, analysis of data, and so on lah. Alright, so this is a different, sama jugalah, benda yang sama, you boleh screenshot juga. Okay, screenshot this one. Dah? Sudah? Right. I think this one kita dah discuss tadi in detail lah. Okay. Ini kita akan discuss thoroughly next class. Content of research report. Alright. I think that's all. Thank you very much.